Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for game number 2 between TNC Predator and of course Geek fam. It is MLP Dota, and as you can see the draft has already started, but in case you weren't here for game number 1, to put it as bluntly as possible, TNC basically ran a broodmother and essentially had the game in the bag from the get-go, I would say. I mean, they had the net worth lead the whole time. Momentum was there the whole time for the side of TNC. Geek fam, unfortunately, after the laning stage, couldn't really get on top of things during that game number 1. Though game number 2, I'm sure things should be very, very different for this dire side. Time will only tell, though, as the draft is underway, and we do see TNC Predator. They do get started with the puck. Geek fam, they are into their first pick, but they are using their reserve time straight off the bat. They're going to think about this one carefully. It is arguably a bit of an unusual opening from the side of TNC with that puck. Though it looks like Geek fam will just go for the safety pick in the Rubik, and once again, they do go for the Abaddon. I suppose the question will be whether they do opt to run that in the off lane, or whether they just will run it as a support in the safe lane. I imagine they may want to switch it up a bit, as Kuka couldn't really do much on the Abaddon. In that game number 1. Wasn't really so much his fault, it just seemed like none of the heroes on the side of Geek fam could really get up and online up against a side like TNC. Well, now TNC, they will go for the Vengeful Spirit pickup. So you do have that nice little combination where you can essentially use the puck ultimate and then swap someone out of it if you really want to get that guaranteed stun off. Other than that, though, the Venge is just a very useful support to have overall, especially with that aura. So we do see where we go with it. So Alchemist will be the 4th ban for TNC now. Geek fam, what do they opt to ban out? We saw them get rid of KP's Veno. They don't want to have to deal with that again. And it was quite an annoying presence, as you had this Brood, you had this Veno. They just kept pushing the lanes out constantly. And it never seemed like Geek fam could get any sort of map control. They will go ahead and ban out the TA again as well. They don't want to have to deal with that RML TA. TNC, though, not much time thinking about it. They'll go ahead and get rid of the Lycan. Geek fam, one more ban for them.
Five seconds remaining.
Once again, it looks like they might just go into the reserve time for this 5th ban.
Dire team pick.
They'll get rid of the Timber. Go straight into the Dragon Knight. Very safe kind of core to have. Even if you don't get a good start on the DK, it still generally goes okay. You can push towers down very easily with that Dragon form. A very tanky hero overall to try and deal with in the team fights. And most of the time, DK just doesn't lose the lane.
Dire team pick.
TNC, though, they'll go into the Undying pickup. So against some very strong lane presence from the side of TNC. It's Undying in the previous patch was okay. I mean, I would say it was below average in terms of actual ability from the hero. It was always good during the early game, but once you hit the mid to late game, it basically dropped off quite hard. But we will see how it performs in this new patch. It's Geek fam now. Again, letting that reserve time go. About a minute left.
TNC Predators turn.
They will go back to that Keeper of the Light. It did have some slight nerfs coming out, but it is still a very viable hero. TNC, once again, not really thinking about their pick whatsoever. They go straight into the Outworld Devourer. And up against that Dragon Knight, this hero is very, very potent. The Arcane Orb does not care for the armor of the DK. And of course the Sanities is also very, very useful. So you can just keep spamming the Arcane Orb, and once you've stolen enough intelligence, you just drop the hammer on the heads of the side of Geek fam. Again, this draft from TNC does just look so darn strong already. And apart from that Will-O-Wisp and perhaps the DK stun, I don't really see a way of dealing with the OD. I mean, once the BKB's out on Mel, there's basically no stopping him. He's just got free reign over the team fights. Of course, Geek fam do have one last pick to make, so they can always change things up with this draft. This final ban. 10 seconds reserve time left for Geek fam.
TNC Predators.
Get rid of the Void.
TNC Predators.
TNC, they'll get rid of the Brood themselves this time around. They don't want any shenanigans.
Dire team pick.
Straight into the gyrocopter for TNC. This hero, again, just never seems to ever disappear from the meta. It's always viable. TNC will happily take it. And I mean, with that new jungle, the jungle items coming out, TNC farming multiple stacks with a gyrocopter, it's going to be a lot of items dropping.
Remaining. 5 seconds.
You saw last game, they were taking full advantage of those items. Geek fam, they go back into the Razor, so they're feeling confident with this Razor pick once again. It does appear that Cuckoo will be on the position 3 Abaddon, so they have gone for a very, very similar kind of draft here, Geek fam. At the very least, they do give Raven the DK instead, so you won't have that Weaver. But I don't know if the DK is a much better choice. It does work well up against the gyrocopter due to just his heavy armor, but again, once Armel's up and online with that BKB, I don't really see a way to deal with him. Static Link can still be pretty good, but gotta close the gap. Just in terms of laning stage as well, it does seem like TNC do have the advantage. Got that Undying that pretty much always wins you the lane. OD doesn't really lose lanes, and Gyrocopter doesn't really lose them either. Interestingly, though, we do have a position 4 puck. KP will be playing the position 3 Vengeful Spirit. TNC experimenting a little bit with their draft. We'll see how it all pans out. Of course, again, this is a best of 2 series. TNC looking to 2-0 if they possibly can, and Geek fam definitely want to try and tie this up. They can. Get into a game number 2.
Prepare for battle.
Interesting.
Was TNC going into this the heavy favorites? They were the major winners after all. And Geek fam, it's a little unfortunate they had to verse TNC of all teams to start their day off, but it's how the cookie crumbled. Good to see that both teams are in high spirits though. Getting a little bit of banter coming out from either side.
"30 seconds to battle.
Geek fam setting up for the left side bounty. See if TNC does try to contest the one near the outpost. KP is starting to set up on the Venge.
The battle begins.
Looks like Raven should be able to go. In fact, no, KP does manage to snag it away from Raven. It will be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounties anyway, though, so not too big of a deal. Dubu does cop a fair bit of damage off the puck. He'll be okay. It's one of the positives about having a position 4 puck. It hits so darn hard. It's hard to lose the harass war between the supports if you are playing the puck. Does have the Ring of Bassi there as well. Mid lane, Armel gonna be up against Ryoya. This should be a little bit easier for Ryoya, but then again you've got the Astral Imprisonment that can just be spammed out from Armel. You won't really be able to get the full effect of the static link off. Armel, not really the kind of player to make a mistake with the Astral either. I doubt he'll use it too early and not have it for the static link usage. Of course, bot lane, Gabby going to be up against Cuckoo once again. You do see March as well, just chasing Zephyr down on the Rubik. Spamming away that decay. Does already have 2 mangoes ready to go. We'll pop one. Just continue this decay spam. Won't really be doing much though. As Raven top lane almost going down to Tim's on the puck. He will barely survive with a slither of HP, but he will salve up. Survive another day. Ubu now going to be chased down by Tims. KP will be there as well. Tims just not going to give up on this. Orb will be there. Dubu, he should die, though Blinding Light will allow him to survive, just barely. And he salves up, he gets the hell out of there. That's going to be 2 salves committed very early from the side of Geek fam. We saw this last game, TNC just applying so much pressure to the safe lane of Geek fam. Not ever really allowing them to be comfortable in this lane. Looks like we are going to have a bit of a repeat of that. Back to the mid lane though, Ryoya. Doing pretty well in terms of last hits. 11 and 11. Really denying the hell out of Armel, who only has 4 and 2 on the OD. So Ryoya so far making this lane work quite well for himself. Armel gonna start with the Astral Spam once again. Ryoya does have the static link though, and he will use it immediately. Armel lose quite a bit of damage. Ryoya gonna go straight back to last hitting and denying. And this should mean a much slower game for Armel in this OD.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Well, top though, looks like they are going to lose their Keeper of the Light. KP does end up finding him, so Dubu being the first blood for the side of TNC. And you saw Tims, he was just chasing down with those right clicks, and he does end up setting up the first blood. Meanwhile, bot lane though, Cuckoo going to end up chasing this gyrocopter. Gabby will end up surviving just fine. March did have the Soul Rip to heal him up. Geek fam certainly trying to apply the pressure back to the safe lane of TNC. Gabby doesn't actually have a salve, he only has tangos available, so Cuckoo gonna try and abuse this a bit. He will spot out a courier as well. March actually blocking the way for Gabby! Oh, March! He's gonna try and go after the Abaddon, but now his life looks to be forfeit as Cuckoo does find him. A double kill for the Abaddon!
Radiant's bottom tower is under
And he will deny himself off to the T1 tower. But March giving them a freebie. Gabby will TP back straight away to get back to that farm. Bit of a misplay though coming out very early on from this safe lane of TNC.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Raven upping a fair bit of harassment, but in terms of last hits, he's at the top of the board. Of course, with that Dragon Blood, he can just keep passively healing up. It's going to be a bit of a scuttle over those bounty runes up at the top lane. Raven is going to be the target. Tim's going to continue chasing him down. It's mana coming in from Dubu, but they aren't giving up quite yet. Raven so close to dying, but he's so darn tanking on this DK. One more right click would have done it, but he doesn't find it from the puck. So TNC at least force out the DK for a little bit. Won't quite find what they wanted. Meanwhile, mid, Ryoya, again with the static link, being quite aggressive with that usage. And as such, has really shut down Armel on the OD. (27 and 18 on this Razor in comparison to the 16 and 5 on the OD right now. Like Dubu is just getting to stacking for his team. Of course, when you're up against a Gyrocopter, you've got to be very careful not to allow those stacks to go the way of TNC. Zephyr, going to rotate in mid lane, but doesn't quite have the range to find Armel with the lift. Dubu will join as well on the keeper now. But we do have a rotation in from Tims. He doesn't have the Dream Core yet. He's only level 3. But just with that Orb and Silence, he might just find Dubu. In fact, he jumps in for the Silence, ignores Dubu, and is going to go after Ryoya on the Razor instead. Still holding on to that Orb. Fade Bolt will come out from Zephyr. Ryoya falling low and will not go down. The Aphotic Shield from Cuckoo just in the nick of time. And now he will try to turn it towards Tims on the puck. And it looks like he will find the kill as well. Great rotation there from Cuckoo, saving that mid-Razor and finding a trade. And Geek Fam happily backing out of there now. A 2-3 lead their way. 1k net worth lead as well going their way. And so far, at the very least, they have won the top and mid lane. Looks like they have found a trusty shovel. That will be on Ryoya, I believe, on the Razor, perhaps. In fact, he's given it to Dubu on the Keeper of the Light. The shovel is arguably one of the better items you can find in the jungle. Especially if you find those bounty runes. Dubu. Be careful, he's getting very, very low. March won't be able to get the decay off. You'll see Tim's here as well. He's trying to ensure that the side of Geek Fam can't freely farm this jungle. All these stacks being taken, Ryoya is finding quite a few items for himself. Looking back down to the bot lane, Gabby farming pretty decently on the Gyrocopter. He was slightly behind though earlier on, so he's just trying to catch up. Cuckoo hasn't really left him alone on the Abaddon either. So KP is going to be the top of the net worth board on the Venge. Does have the full Helm of Dom up. Does go ahead and take himself a Centaur Conqueror. Took both sides. Just going to be comfortable to farm for a bit. Royal Jelly going to be found by Armel. Meanwhile, bot though, Gabby going to get caught out. Static Link will be there as well as the Plasma Field, but here come the rotations. Still, they found the Gyrocopter, but can TNC punish? Looks like the Tombstone was dropped. March trying to hold them down as long as possible. Now Ryoya gets stunned up, but still they're being controlled up here by Geek Fam. In fact, they might lose Armel on the OD, and they do. They'll lose March as well on the Undying. KP now going to get chased down, but no, he swaps Tims in. Tims will orb away. KP may not be so lucky though. He will go down in the end. And Tims, he didn't actually use the orb. He's just going to try and make a run for it, but Zephyr is on his tail. They will leave him be. But that is a massive win for the side of Geek Fam, finding 4 heroes for the price of none. They should be able to secure quite a few banner runes as well now.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Tims is going to try and go for the steal. Does throw an orb out and will not find it. Ryoya, he didn't actually orb back Tims! I think he may have used that orb a second too early. He had nothing to go back to, and Ryoya just finds a very, very easy pick-off as well as the bounty for himself. So 2-8 now. 3k net worth lead for Geek Fam. Gabby on the gyro is still desperately trying to get his farm up. Same goes for Armel, who was just shut down by Ryoya on the Razor. Geek Fam not looking to slow this down at any point.
Under attack.
They've started taking over the Radiant side jungle now, trying to maintain map control. KP trying to farm some Ancients, but Geek Fam are going to show themselves. Raven. Dragon form up, goes straight after the puck now, and well, Tims doesn't really have anywhere to go. He will try and orb away and does get away with it, but the neutrals will take him low enough that Raven's poison will tick him out. That is just so unfortunate. Meanwhile, March goes down to Cuckoo up at the top lane. And that's going to make it a 2-10 now at 11.5 minutes in. They are going to claim that T1 mid tower as well. Dragon form does take it quite easily.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Geek Fam
Radiant's middle tower has
looks like a
fallen.
completely different team going into game 2. Just really getting all of it together and making it work, at least for now. Armel farming the best he can. It's just so important that Armel and Gabby can get up and online as soon as possible going to this mid game. See, they do have the stronger late game in the OD and the gyro regardless, but I don't see Geek Fam waiting that long if they do take control throughout the mid. KP gonna rotate in. March does end up going down up in the mid lane. Ryoya does find him by himself. The gank attempt though onto Raven will not work out. He just pops the drums and runs away. Zephyr is there now as well, and it looks like they are gonna make a slight chase onto KP. He's gonna walk out of there safely. And instead, they'll rotate up top. They'll see Gabby on the gyro. Tims is there with the Dream Call though, so they do have to be a little bit wary of that. But Dubu has the Will-O-Wisp, doesn't drop it yet. We'll start off with the Blinding Light. Now lift is going to be there onto the puck. Tims getting very low and looks like he is just dead. March, he popped the golem, but isn't even going to matter. Will-O-Wisp comes out from Dubu now. Blinding Light as well. Still, they've got control of this Undying, and March, he is just dead. Now the swap away. And the buyback will come out from Tims. Do they still want to fight this? Raven, he gets swapped on top of the cliff. He's just stuck there for a while. Cuckoo's going to chase Armel though. Ryoya finds Gabby on the gyrocopter. They are perhaps going to find the OD though. No Dream Call, and Sanities does no damage. Dubu ends up finding KP. They're going to go for more now in the form of the OD, and Armel has nowhere to go except down, and that is exactly where he goes. And with that, a T1 tower to be taken once again by the side of Geek Fam. The buybacks were there from TNC, or at the very least on Tims, but it just didn't matter. Just seems like they're way too far behind right now. with that Geek fam. They still have Raven on top of that cliff. He's got a TP in 1 second, but they know he's there. Raven gonna go for the TP now. Gabby didn't have the homing missile available to throw out. Cuckoo, while he's still around, does take the bounty and gets the outpost. He has borrowed time available. He should be perfectly fine here. In fact, they may try and turn this as Ryoya does rotate in on the Razor. They do go for the standing click on Gabby. Now the rotation from Zephyr on the Rubik, but Gabby looks like he's just dead. Ryoya does get stunned up by KP, but is it going to matter? It certainly will. Armel will find the Razor kill. The Geek fam are going to be able to walk out of there. Tims can Dream Call and does do so. Still have the battle with the Phonic Shield, but apparently it won't matter. TNC do surrender, do find the kill. And it looks like it will end up being a 2-for-1 trade for the side of TNC. Zephyr, a nice little juke there on the Rubik, and will manage to get out. So although you lost Gabby on the gyro, it doesn't matter too much. You still found some very valuable kills on the side of Geek fam. The Geek fam do maintain a 7k net worth lead going into 16 minutes. TNC now perhaps ready to go. They're going to scout out Ryoya. Certainly not the easiest target. Got Dream Call in 15 seconds. Armel going to be able to walk away. Another Vampire Fangs being dropped. This time Raven picks it up on the DK. We do see a defusal coming out on Gabby now on the gyro. TNC slowly but surely clawing their way back into this game. Got some decent farm coming out on Armel and the OD. Gabby is still fairly behind on the gyrocopter, but gyrocopters do tend to catch up pretty darn quickly. Thing is though, you look at Zephyr on this support Rubik, he's got BOTs and Blink Dagger up now, so he can just be all over the map. So you could expect Geek fam to start being even more aggressive. Staff being completed on Armel. A bit more mobility for this OD, a bit more of an escape mechanism coming out. Raven, very soon you will have the full BKB up. Does find himself another Grove Bow. Armel gotta be careful here, but does have the help of the Undying around. Raven just gonna hide in the tree line for a bit. You will see rotations now coming in from Geek fam though. They have smoked up. Looks like the setup is there from Raven. He stuns Armel straight away. March will pop the golem, but it doesn't matter. The Will-O-Wisp will be there onto Armel, and it looks like he just goes down. Now they take an easy kill onto March, and there's really nobody else from TNC around the area. So Geek fam may just start pushing in that bot tier 2 tower. TNC, they may even lose Tims, though he does orb TP away. Looks like he will end up surviving. But a 4-19. Geek fam just not letting off quite yet. Gabby, this is not where you want to be right now. Gonna spot out Dubu. There will be a TP in from Tims. Looks like Raven will manage to walk out of there safely. He has the 10-second BKB charge now available anyway, so I don't really see them being able to kill him off. To make matters worse, now the rest of Geek Fam are here and ready to go. And KP gonna scout him out, but well, we'll throw out the magic missile. But there's Zephyr with the blink and lift. He does steal the magic missile as well, and it looks like they have found KP on the Venge, although he is still surviving. Now the Dream Core comes in from Tim's. Flak cannon from Gabby as well, doing a fair bit of damage, but not quite enough. Blinding light to fly out. Raven, he BKBs up as well. Zephyr, another stun. So he does find KP on the Venge, and it looks like Gabby is just going to be surrounded. It's going to be a double kill coming out from Zephyr. And the rest of TNC just get the hell out of there. So far, not one teamfight has really gone TNC's way. And mind you, they didn't have Armel there to help out. He understands, he just needs to keep farming up right now. There's no need for him to try and push the issue. But Geek Fam, they are not slowing down. Another smoke. Gonna find Armel. Will-O-Wisp will be there just before the 4-stuff, and now the blinding light. Static Link to follow. Astral will delay things for just a bit, but Armel does appear to just be dead here, as he is surrounded once again by Geek Fam.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
They extend the lead to 10k now. In fact, we'll have a quick look at the Dota Plus probability, and it is at 97% the way of Geek Fam.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Meanwhile, at top, Zephyr does get caught out by the Dream Core, but Tims, he needs more damage output. It looks like he will have Gabby there to help, and now the Dream Core has been stolen, but it doesn't matter. Zephyr will end up going down. But while all that's happening, Geek Fam will happily go ahead and trade his life for a tier 2 mid tower. Still though, the fortification will protect the tower for now. Geek Fam, they will stick around in the Radiant side jungle at least for a little bit. It's like Gabby, just trying to finish off that BKB on the gyro now. Got for the Aghanim Scepter after that. Geek Fam looking to perhaps smoke once again. That is exactly what they do. What do they go for though? They are going to run through the east side jungle of the Radiant. They may run into KP on the Venge. And yeah, they do. Zephyr immediately blinks and lifts. Raven is there with the follow-up stun, and there's just no help around for KP. And with that, an immediate transition into that tier 2. In fact, they may go for a tier 3 afterwards. We've got so much time on that dragon form left. And yeah, that's exactly what Geek Fam want to do. Straight into that high ground. There's no buyback available on KP. They're going to jump in straight onto March. That Undying is not going to sustain that much damage. And with that, it's a 3v5 situation. The Raxes now are exposed, and that's exactly what they go for. And Geek Fam, 23 minutes, going to take a Rax, though no, they jump in straight after Tims as well, and the puck is gone. He does have buyback and does expend it, but the Rax is already gone. Geek Fam, are they going to keep going? It looks like they actually are. Straight into the secondary tier 3 at the bot lane. Raven still holding on to that 9-second charge on his BKB. They'll take the tier 3. Dragon form is about to wear off, so they'll back out of there safely. That is just a huge win for this Dire side. There appears to be no comeback in sight for the side of TNC yet. March will buy a smoke though. Perhaps this is the play they need. He won't smoke up quite yet. Looks like they're just out on a dewarding mission. Geek fam setting up for that bot lane once again. Butterfly will be there now for Ryoya on the Razor. Just bringing it out on the Courier. Raven does have that level 3 Dragon form, and we'll start moving in. In fact, he goes straight after KP on the Venge. Tombstone is dropped, but look at that Will-O-Wisp. Just perfectly placed by Dubu. They'll find one in Gabby. KP goes down as well, and March is just a sitting duck. He's gone. This could just be GG. They'll buy back on March. But again, they don't have buybacks available on the Gyro, nor do they have it on the Venge. And in fact, they jump straight back in on March on the Undying. BKB popped by Armel. He's going to have to try man fight by himself. He does get into his fountain, but it's going to be a dieback on March, and the GG has been called. In Geek fam, they're going to go for a rampage. It will not work out. Dubu will steal it with the blinding light. But nevertheless, Geek fam pull off an impressive victory. And that will even it out 1-1. Certainly not what I expected going into the second game. TNC just were the heavy favorites, but Geek fam really showing up. Nevertheless, that will be the first best of 2 series today. Of course, there is many more to come. I'll have to find out exactly what our next game is going to be. I believe it should be either Adroit vs Reality Rift or Boom Esports vs SG Dragons. Though I'll update you guys as soon as I know. It is MLP Dota. I'll see you guys very, very soon for that second series. Won't be too long.